Welcome to the Gospel According to Kinison, and I am your host. I am the man, Bill Kinison, and I want to welcome you to one of the best programs you're ever going to hear, and that we have, our real intention is to help you. And I know a lot of preachers tell you that, and then while they do it, they got their hand out and everything, but our intention is to help you. Sherry?
Yes, sir.
This is a beautiful place.
It's lovely. We have had such a good time here.
We're at the home of Don and Cheryl Morin, which are good friends of ours for years, from the theater. And I'll give you the address at the end of the program so you can come by.
It's the best bread and what do you call it? Bed and breakfast.
Yes, it is.
Oh my gosh.
It is. We've had a great time here. Matter of fact, we've had a great time, period.
Good morning, Sharon. Good morning, Valerie. Good morning, Anthony Golden, Tommy. There's Don Morin right there.
Did you hear that, Don?
Sharon Stein says, thank you for the incredible cruise.
It was wonderful. It was
really
wonderful.
was.
You want to do this, not necessarily that, but I think you want to go up the coast in
Next
about a
year.
year, you said?
Next year.
And I want all of you, start saving your pennies and go with us. We had a fantastic time, and we had Valerie, that all of you know from the program. She was there. She was beautiful, and
she brought Angeline.
That's right, and brought Angeline. Surprised her, or
Ken
surprised
and
us. And but she brought Angeline with her, and then we had Sharon and Stan, and had a great talk with Stan after our program last Sunday. He wanted to know about Pentecost. Exactly what are you talking about? So we had a great talk, but we had so many. Keith, that's on there, and then Don and Cheryl, that's on here all the time, that watches us every week. They were there, and then Cheryl, we got back here, and we had a couple. What do you call it? I don't know. Get-togethers, and we had about 25 in each get-together, and just a fantastic time. Just a fantastic time. I wish all of you could have been there. I really do. I wish I had enough money. Sure, I could just pay for whoever wanted to go. I really do. But we had a wonderful Jack time.
Jack Friedman said to like YouTube, to go on YouTube and sign up for Gospel According to Kinison.
Yes. Please go to YouTube and sign up and like the Gospel According to Kinison on YouTube, and so we can get further up the ladder. And then I think if we get so many, they actually pay us to be on there. So please do that. Sherry, we have one note. Terry Jones that watches us all the time, and if there's anybody in this world that's like my sister, it is Terry. And we met each other when, I don't know, she's probably 15 years old. And we just grew up together and love each other. And her sister, Susan. Susie, I always called her Sue, but I always called her Susie. She transitioned last night, or early this morning, depending on the time. And our prayers go out to Terry and to Barb and to Sue's family, or her husband, and everyone else. And I've told you many times, I'm not so spiritual yet that I can rejoice at a death of a friend. And Sue was definitely a friend. Sure, I married her and her husband.
I remember. Yes, you did.
Actually, I didn't. I married her and Terry.
Terry's husband.
They let me go through this entire ceremony, even to presenting them, and calling Sue Terry the entire time, and but they thought it was comical. I was humiliated, so I didn't think it was so comical at the time. But we love that family, and please hold them up in prayer. You know, and a lot of times we can we can look at others and tell them, well, they're in a better place. I told her last night, I'm not gonna tell you that, because that doesn't help you. And but God has the balm of Gilead, and He's able to do it. Sharon, we got anything else?
I don't think so. Rochelle Haas Ward, she's on, and she knows.
Oh, yes, Rochelle knows Terry and Sue. She grew up with us too.
Yeah.
So you in Tulsa area, you want to attend the service, probably you can go on Terry Jones' Facebook page, and I'm sure she'll probably be posting something. And our hearts go out to them. We love them. We love them, just like if you lost yours. And we've had many people on here that's lost people. Matter of fact, we were with Ann Thomas. Yes. Was it 2 days ago? Wasn't yesterday, Thursday, was it?
Friday.
Yeah, it was Friday, and Tom, her husband, transitioned just a few weeks ago. So, the part of life.
It's been 4 months now.
Okay, well, that'd be 16 weeks ago, see? That's a few. Oh, God. All right.
Go ahead.
Yeah, let's get to our lesson this morning. We've got Independence Day coming up.
Yes.
The 4th of July and Independence Day. And well, I know we're going to enjoy it. I hope you enjoy it too. But I want you to keep in mind exactly what we are barbecuing and putting out the potato chips and the hot dogs and the hamburgers. Why we're able to do that. And I'd like for our nation to remember why we decided to leave England and come over here and start a new government. Because that's what we're rejoicing. I want to give you a scripture before we start. It says, "Stand fast in the liberty with which Christ has made us free, and be not entangled again with the yoke of bondage." Stand fast in your liberty. Stand fast in your liberty. And don't be entangled into that yoke of bondage again. I never understood why people would get mad at the church they're in. They'd start another church, but yet their foundation of belief was exactly the same. I remember my father goes, "I don't know why people do that." I want to give you a Kinisonism. We're going to minister today on spiritual independence. Here's your Kinisonism. It's up to you. It's up to the individual to free himself from the negative beliefs and teachings that keep him from acknowledging the God in him, that keep him from acknowledging the presence and the power of God within. Knowing the presence and knowing the power automatically brings you liberty. Now you want to be set free from limitation, free to do what you want to do, free to be who you want to be, and to have what you want to have. Folks, I'm going to tell you something. This works. This works. I watched it in my own family my entire life. We started off about as bad as you can start off. We started off in the projects. We started off in the rough area. Then we lived in a church. I lived in that church until I married Sherry at 23 years old. But she wasn't going to live in a church, so we had to go get a place. But what I'm trying to show you is this has worked. My brother was born severely mentally handicapped and blind. It works. It works. It wasn't a preacher that came and prayed for him. He said an angel came. And then the angel told him, "You can heal yourself." Man, calm down, Bill. Calm down. Let me have a drink. I get excited about it. This is not some theory we're trying to work out. It works. The God in you works. Sam struggled his entire life. My brother Sam struggled his entire life until at the age of 25 he decided he's going to be a stand-up comedian. That had always been his desire. And bam, ended up being one of the greatest and biggest stand-up comedians in history. In history. Sherry and I is writing a book, and I think some of you are going to really be surprised with the book. First, it's going to be great, and then second, I think you're going to be surprised with the life that Sherry and I have had and what has been accomplished in our life directly responsible is the principles I teach here. In this ministry, we teach independence. Independence. We teach you not to depend on anybody or anything except the God in you. That's all. Somebody goes, well, you know, the government's going, no. Don't depend on the government. Don't depend on your friends. Here we try to teach you to not only to depend not only on the presence of the God in you, but use it. Use it. That God in the universe that you'll sit down and pray with lives right here. You're made in His image. You're made in His likeness. And He went further than that and says, and you have power. He gave you dominion over everything in the earth. What are we doing? What are we doing? That's like having a endless bank account. And all you have to do is write the check. That's all. You don't have to do anything. Just write the check. What if you had that? How would that change your life? Because that's exactly what you have. We teach you to depend on the presence of the God within you. Through the presence and the power of the God within you, you can have what you want to have. I'm going to keep telling you that. You can do what you want to do. You can have what you want to have. You can be what you want to be. You'll find out that you don't have to wait around for somebody else, like the man at the pool. Jesus came by. Said, how long have you laid here? Said, 38 years. Said, I lay here and I'm waiting for the water to be troubled, but when the water gets troubled, I have no man to help me get into the water. Well, I want to tell you something. Jesus told him, he never made a big dissertation of a prayer. He didn't supplicate and beg God. He just told the man, take up your bed and walk. And I've told you before, I never understood at that time when I first heard this story and read it, I didn't understand why he wanted to pick up that filthy bed. Man been laying in that for 38 years. But what it was, he wanted you not to, he didn't want this man just to be healed. He wanted him to master what had mastered him. God wants you today to master what has mastered you, that has kept you in limitation. See, many people are just lazy. I'm going to put it the way it is. They're just lazy. Many people don't want to be spiritually independent. They want to put their lives in the hands of somebody else or something else. They want somebody else to make the decisions for them. No. You see, they would rather depend on somebody or something else than accept responsibility for what they have and what they don't have. It's always someone else's fault. Oh, I could be this, I could be that. But it's somebody else. It's always someone else's fault. You see, as long as you depend on anybody or anything else to give you the things you need, you're not free. I'm out in California. We'll be going back home to Texas. Got to go by Vegas first, and Sherry's going to do her gig singing with the Elvis tribute artists. But I was out here, and the Governor Newsom, I guess, is about the time of the election. He wants to give everybody $1,000. To me, that's just buying votes. But he wants to give everybody $1,000. Do they realize that as long as they're doing that, you're not free? You're living according to the handouts that they're trying to give you. You see, as long as you make somebody else or something else responsible for your experience in life, You're not free. You are a slave. Now, I may upset some of you with this next statement, but I might as well go ahead and do it. That's why I don't agree with the welfare system in the USA. I'm sorry. I don't. To me, that's modern day slavery. You see, the power is within you, not somewhere else. Within you. You're responsible for your happiness. Constitution says everyone has a right to the pursuit of happiness. That's true, but it's your responsibility. It's your responsibility of health. It's your responsibility to have joy. That's your responsibility. That's not someone else's. If it's someone else's, they have you in bondage. This is the 4th of July weekend. Now, one thing I want you to recognize is you're free. You're free. People laid down their lives for you to be free. Take advantage of that and use it. You see, if you'll know this truth, you will be free. Know the truth about who and what you are in God, and who and what God is in you. If you do that, if you recognize that truth, you will be free. Oh man, I'm excited this morning. Trying to keep it under control. I'm about to get up and do my gospel dance here. You see, I don't teach that I have some power that you don't have. I don't teach that because it's not true. I know preachers are big on that. They like you to think that they got a special edge with God. And they have a power, your pastor has a power that you don't have. It's a lie. It's a damn lie. You have power as much as anyone that walks this earth. You have as much power as Jesus in the Bible. And I'm trying to show you how to utilize that. Whatever power you think I have, that is the power that you also have. Now, some people they'd want you to think that they have some privilege with God. They're holy. They fast and they pray, and because of that they have some privilege. No. So they don't have any more privilege with God than you do. Don't ever believe anyone who tells you that he has some gift from God that you don't have. It's not true. It's not true. You have the same potential as anyone else. It's up to you to use it. God doesn't have, boy, I'm glad we got on this today. God doesn't have favorite people. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I was talking to people on the ship. And I was telling them, actually, I was looking over, I think Valerie was one of them, and Angeline. I was looking at the people down there. And I said, you know, I feel special. I don't feel like the normal people. I feel special. I have this life that makes me feel special. Then I look down and I go, do you realize that each one of these people here have the same kind of life that we have? They're worried like we do. They're afraid like some of you are afraid. They stress like you stress. And I wish I could just grab some of them, just shake them and go, here's the truth. Here's the truth. God doesn't have favorite people. I believe I'm special. I believe you're special. And I believe every person that gets this truth is special. But God doesn't have favorites. And anybody that thinks he is holier than thou, stay away from that person. You don't need that kind of stuff. Don't associate with that kind of a person. They'll bring you down. They'll bring you down. Some people think that Jesus could do such healing work and could perform such miracles because God had given him special powers. I'm sure every one of us have thought that at one time or another. But God didn't give Jesus anything he didn't give to you. We're just afraid to try it out. But he hasn't given Jesus anything that he hasn't given to you. You're in his image. Some of you probably get sick of me saying this, but I'm trying to drive it home to you. You're created in his image. You're created in his likeness. And you have power. And you have dominion over everything on the face of this earth. Start using it. Quit complaining about what the situations are and start changing your life. My economics doesn't depend on the economics of the world. I live by separate rules. You see, the only difference between Jesus and you is consciousness or self-awareness. The only difference between Buddha and you is consciousness, self-awareness. I can name off every religion and the center point. And I can tell you the only difference between you and him, Gandhi, the only difference between Gandhi and you is consciousness or self-awareness. Jesus was always saying in John 14:10, the power in me, the Father in me, he doeth the work in me. He does the work. I've seen miracles. I've seen blind eyes open. I've seen people get out of wheelchairs. I've seen people that the doctors had told them they were terminal. And somehow I'm able to strike that match, to create that flame, and let them know that the Father in you, he does the work. The God in you, he does the work. Jesus was aware of his oneness with God. Are you? You can't do it if you think he's up there in the sky somewhere with a big book and writing down your good deeds and your bad deeds. It won't work. You have to understand that oneness with God. Jesus was aware that the Father was in him. Same thing I teach to you. God in you. His knowledge of the presence and power of God within him. His faith and his belief in God in him was the secret of his power. I'm giving it to you right now. You've got the secret. That was the source of his power. Was him recognizing that the Father was in him, that God was in him. Here's another little note for you. The same presence of God that was in Jesus is in you. You ought to write that and put it on your fridge or something. The same power of God that was in Jesus is in you. Very simple. But it is. It's the presence and power of God, the God within you that you communicate with. When you pray for the good you desire, that's who you're talking to. And he's right here. It would be more real if he was sitting in this seat and I got to talk to him. Because I talk to him all the time. Because his seat is inside of us. His seat is inside of you. I want to tell some of you today, if you have to get up and walk, you have the power within you. Don't be afraid. Don't try to believe. Just know that God is in you. That's why in this ministry, after we pray, we say, The presence and power of God are in me. The presence and power of God in me does the work. Now, some of you have written and you've said, I wish you could just reach through there and just lay your hand on me. I don't have to. You have more than that inside of you. You see, if we're looking for the presence and for a God in the sky, if you're looking for that God in the sky to depend on, if you're looking for a God outside of you to help you, forget it. It's not going to happen. It's not going to come. God is within you. When you discover God, you discover Him within your own being. That's where you find Him at. Some people spend their entire lives, I've heard them praying for God's will. Lord, give me your will. I remember we used to sing, of course, I'll go where you want me to go, dear Lord. In other words, I'm praying for God's will to happen. I remember I was in Oakland, and I realized that I'm not, I'm perfect in God's sight, but I have faults. And I had my brother-in-law with me, and he was playing the organ for me, Ron McFadden. We're in this big church, and it started out a convention, ended up being a crusade. And I remember I would go off by myself, and I would communicate with God verbally. And I would tell Him, God, I don't deserve for you to use me to bless these people, to heal these people. I don't deserve that. I was thinking at that time, I'm not good enough. Then I went, but they deserve it. They deserve you to touch them. And then I said, God, have your will in this service tonight. And where He communicates with me, spoke to me and goes, why do you think I will not have my will? I have my will all the time. And that totally changed how I perceived God to be. When I was pastoring, people come up to me and they go, Pastor Kinison, I want to come to your services, and I'll be there Sunday if it's the Lord's will. Well, eventually I would just tell them, it's your will. If it's your will, you'll be there. You see, those of you who are seeking the will of God outside of you should know this truth. There's no will of God outside of you to impose itself on you. There is none. It either comes within or it doesn't come. Whatever happens in your life is decided by your own state of mind. Don't blame anybody else. Don't blame the government. Don't blame your employer. Don't blame your friends and your family. There is no will outside of you to impose itself on you. What happens? We're going to close here in a moment. What happens in your life is decided by your own state of mind. That's just facts. I want to repeat it again. Whatever happens in your life is decided by your own state of mind. Man, that's powerful. You are the one who decides whether or not you're going to be an independent, self-sufficient person. You decide that. No one else. You are the one who decides whether or not you're going to be free. Free to be what you want to be. free to do what you want to do, and free to have what you want to have. It's all in your hands. I'm not going to send you a miracle cloth that I'm going to pray over. No. Speak to the God inside of you. I'm not going to send you a vial of oil from the Holy Land that you can anoint things. No. The power is within you. Honey, how are we doing?
You are 10:30 right now.
Oh, abandon ship. Abandon ship. You that watched last week, we did this on the ship that we were taking the cruise on, and we had several people watching us that watched us every week. Then we had a few others that didn't, trying to figure out what was going on, and they were running their tests or whatever like they do. Right at 10:30, it couldn't have been more perfect. Right at 10:30, the captain came on and goes, abandon ship, abandon ship. And so I remember Susie, our signer, was with us, and I folded up my notes, said, let's get out of here, it's over. So that's what I was referring to. I love you. I hope you have a good 4th of July weekend.
Good morning, Scott Ross.
Oh, I love Scott.
Good morning, Gigi.
Who?
Gigi. From
Gigi.
County.
Yes. I love Gigi. I'm just a lover.
She said, you look amazing. How sweet of you, Gigi.
Well, as long as they don't look from waist down, I got on jeans.
You made his day.
Well, I'm happy. I'm a happy person. Sherry, I wasn't going to tell him this, but I'm going to tell him about that post.
Which post? Oh, yes.
I love everyone. We were at dinner, and I looked at my phone, and it said I had posted, I love everyone. And I turned around to Sherry and said, Sherry, I didn't post this. And she said, well, maybe it just picked up your voice and did. I said, no. Then somebody said, I think somebody hacked you. And I go, I don't think they would have hacked me to tell me I love everyone. But we ended up with over 300 comments of I love you and love you back and all that, which I really appreciated. But then Sherry said, what are you going to do? I said, I can't repost and go, I didn't do this, because then they're going to think I don't love everyone. And so I thought I'd let you know, but I do. I love everyone, but I love you especially. Sherry, what are we doing tomorrow?
We're going to Lori and Oscar Balderrama.
That's right.
And you forgot to tell them that Mr. Phillips, Mark Phillips.
Oh, I forgot the end of the story.
Yeah.
We're getting off the boat, and Mark and Susie Phillips are the signer's husband and Susie. Susie is just laughing. And so we come off the boat, and she said, did you notice your post? I said, yes. And she said, Mark, when you and Sherry, I don't know if I should tell them this, Sherry.
No, you were dancing.
Sherry and I were dancing, and Mark picked up my phone and sent that text out of my phone, and I had to admit, I thought it was awful funny. I thought it was pretty genius. I love all of you. I gotta go. Sherry loves you. I love you. God loves you. Have a happy 4th of July. We'll see you next week.